The small mountain village of Songak slept peacefully under a sky full of stars. Most of its 500 people were in bed by 10 at night. Only a few lights remained on, including the one in the small clinic where Dr. Nari Kim finished her paperwork. Nari was 32 years old and the only doctor in Songak. She had moved here 2 years ago after leaving her job at Seoul's biggest hospital. The city had too many painful memories after her brother died. Here in the mountains, she found some peace. Just one more file, she said to herself, rubbing her tired eyes. The clock on the wall showed it was almost midnight. Suddenly, a bright light flashed outside. The light was so strong it turned night into day for a few seconds. Nari jumped from her chair and ran to the window. A burning object fell from the sky, leaving a trail of fire behind it. The object crashed somewhere in the forest about 2 miles from the village. A meteor? She wondered. But something felt wrong. The object had not moved like a falling rock. It seemed to slow down before it disappeared behind the trees. Nari grabbed her phone and called Daeho, the village elder. "I saw it too," the old man said when he answered. "I'm calling the others now. We will check it in the morning. It's too dangerous to go into the forest at night." Nari agreed but couldn't sleep. She sat by her window watching the forest. A thin line of smoke rose from the trees. Once or twice, she thought she saw flashes of blue light from the crash site. Morning came with a strange silence. Nari noticed it right away when she stepped outside. No birds sang. No dogs barked. Even the wind seemed to have stopped. People gathered in the village center, talking in low voices. Everyone had seen the light. Some farmers reported missing animals. Others said they found strange footprints near their homes. "We should call the army," said Officer Han, the head of Songak's small police force. He was a city man who had moved here for the quiet life. Now his face showed worry. "Not yet," said Daeho. "Let's see what fell first. It might just be space junk." The village formed a search group of 10 men, including Officer Han and his 2 deputies. They carried radios to stay in contact with the village. Nari gave them her first aid kit just in case. "Be careful," she told them as they left. Hours passed with no news. The village grew more nervous with each passing minute. Nari kept her clinic ready, preparing beds for possible injuries. Just before noon, the radio crackled to life. "Something's out here," came Officer Han's voice. He spoke in a whisper. "Not a meteor. It's some kind of ship. Metal. Broken open. There's something—" His voice cut off. They heard shouting, then gunshots, then screaming. "Han! Han!" Daeho called into the radio. No answer came. The village erupted in panic. Parents called their children home. Men grabbed tools as weapons. "We need to call for help now," Nari said. She tried her phone but found no signal. The village's internet was down too. Daeho sent 2 young men in the village's only truck to drive to the next town for help. They never returned. The first attack came at sunset. Nari was in her clinic when she heard the screams. She ran outside and froze at what she saw. A creature stood in the middle of the road. It was huge, at least 8 feet tall. Its skin was covered in scales that changed color like oil on water. It had 4 arms, each ending in long claws. Its head held 6 eyes that moved independently, searching. The creature, later Nari would know it as a Pumma, moved with shocking speed. It grabbed a running man and tore him apart like paper. Blood sprayed across the street. People ran in, all directions, but the Pumma seemed to be everywhere at once. Officer Han's remaining deputy fired his gun at the creature. The bullets hit but seemed to cause only minor injuries. The Pumma turned and jumped 30 feet through the air, landing on the officer and crushing him. "Get inside! Lock your doors!" Daeho shouted. But it was too late for many. Nari ran back to her clinic. She locked the doors and windows, then hid in her supply room in the basement. Through a small window near the ceiling, she could see outside. What she saw would stay in her nightmares forever. The Pumma hunted with terrible intelligence. It blocked exits. It set traps. It herded people into open areas before killing them. This was no mindless animal. This was a hunter who enjoyed the kill. Night fell, but the killing continued. Nari could hear the screams getting fewer and farther between as the village population decreased. She stayed hidden, shaking with fear and grief. These were her friends, her patients, her community being slaughtered. Morning brought silence again. Nari dared to peek outside. Bodies lay everywhere. Homes burned. Blood painted the streets. The puma was nowhere to be seen, but fresh tracks showed it had moved back toward the forest. For the next 2 days, Nari remained hidden. She had food and water in her clinic. Sometimes she heard the puma return to the village, probably hunting survivors. Each time, new screams followed. Each time, fewer than before. Some villagers tried to escape in cars or on foot. Nari watched through her window as the puma chased them down. No one escaped. By the 3rd day, the screams had stopped completely. Nari believed she might be the only person left alive in Songak. The thought was too horrible to accept. That afternoon, she heard helicopters. Hope sparked in her chest. Help had come at last. She crawled up the stairs to look out the clinic's main window. 2 military helicopters circled the village. Soldiers began to drop down on ropes. Nari wanted to run out and wave to them, but fear kept her hidden. What if the puma was still nearby? Her caution saved her life. The puma had been waiting. It burst from a hiding place and attacked the soldiers before they could organize. Their guns fired rapidly, but the creature moved too fast. It took hits but kept fighting. One helicopter tried to help by firing missiles. The explosion shook the ground. When the dust cleared, the helicopters were gone. One destroyed, one retreated. Dead soldiers lay among the villagers. The puma stood in the middle of it all, wounded but alive. For the first time, Nari saw it bleeding. A strange blue-green liquid dripped from several wounds. The creature limped away, disappearing between houses. Nari sank to the floor, hope dying in her chest. Not even the military could stop this monster. She was truly alone, trapped in a village of the dead, with a killer alien that seemed impossible to defeat. Night came again. Rain began to fall, washing blood from the streets. And in the darkness, Nari heard something new. A heavy thump against her clinic door, followed by a strange, weak cry. Nari froze when she heard the noise at her clinic door. The sound came again, a heavy thump followed by a scraping noise. Something was trying to get in. For 3 days she had hidden in her basement while the alien Pumma killed everyone in Songak village. Now it had found her too. Rain pounded on the roof as thunder boomed overhead. The storm had grown stronger in the last hour. Lightning flashed, lighting up the clinic for a second. Nari gripped her only weapon, a sharp surgical scalpel. It seemed silly to think this small blade could hurt the creature that had killed soldiers with guns, but she would not die without a fight. The front door burst open with a crash. Nari heard something heavy fall to the floor, then silence. She waited, barely, breathing. No sound of movement came from above. After 10 minutes of silence, Nari slowly climbed the stairs. The clinic was dark except for flashes of lightning from the windows. In that broken light, she saw it. The Pumma lay on the floor just inside the broken door. Rain blew in through the opening, soaking the alien's scaled body. Nari's first thought was to run. The door was open. The creature wasn't moving. This might be her only chance to escape. But then lightning flashed again and she saw the blue-green liquid pooling under the Pumma. It was badly hurt. Metal pieces stuck out from its side and leg. The military attack had wounded it worse than she thought. Nari took a step toward the door, ready to run. Then she stopped. Years of medical training fought with her fear. The creature was dying, even though it had killed her friends. Her doctor's mind saw only a patient in need. "I must be crazy," she whispered. She turned on her flashlight and moved closer to the alien. The Pumma's 6 eyes were half closed. Its breathing came in short gasps. Up close, Nari could see that its scales were actually thousands of tiny plates that moved slightly with each breath. The alien was even stranger looking than she had realized. One of the puma's forearms moved weakly. Nari jumped back, ready to run. But the creature only made a low sound, almost like a whine. It wasn't attacking, it was in pain. Nari made her decision. She was a doctor. She would act like one. "Don't move," she said, knowing the alien couldn't understand her. "I'm going to help you, though heaven knows why." She gathered her medical supplies, gloves, instruments, bandages. The puma watched her with its strange eyes but remained still. "This will hurt," she warned as she examined the first wound. A large piece of metal, probably from the helicopter, was deep in the alien's side. Blood leaked around it. The metal had to come out. Nari tried to remember everything she knew about treating puncture wounds. Of course, nothing in medical school had covered alien anatomy. But the basics should be the same. Stop the bleeding, prevent infection, allow healing. She gave the puma a shot of her strongest painkiller, not knowing if it would work on alien biology. Then she gripped the metal with forceps. "Ready?" she asked. The alien blinked its 6 eyes. Nari pulled. The metal came out with a sick sound. Blue-green blood gushed from the wound. The puma made a horrible noise that might have been a scream, then went still. For a moment, Nari thought it had died. But no. Its chest still moved with shallow breaths. Working quickly, she cleaned the wound. The alien's blood glowed slightly in the dark room, making it easier to see. The cut was deep but had missed what looked like major organs. Nari stitched it closed with surgical thread. There were more wounds. 3 more pieces of metal and several burns. For hours, Nari worked, removing, cleaning, stitching. The storm raged outside, matching her inner turmoil. Why was she saving the creature that had destroyed her village? Was it her doctor's oath to help all who suffered? Or was it something else? A sense that this being, terrible as it was, might be more than just a killer? As dawn approached, Nari finished the last bandage. The puma had remained unconscious through most of the treatment, but as she put away her tools, its eyes opened. Nari stepped back, suddenly afraid again. Would it kill her now that she had helped it? The puma slowly raised itself to a sitting position. It looked at its bandaged wounds, then at Nari. Its head tilted to one side in what seemed like confusion. "You're welcome," Nari said, trying to sound brave. "Though I don't know why I helped you after what you did." The alien made a soft clicking sound. One of its hands touched the largest bandage, then reached toward Nari. She flinched but didn't run. The puma's claw gently touched her hand, then withdrew. Was this a thank you? Or something else? "Can you understand me?" Nari asked. The alien made no response that suggested it could. But it didn't try to attack her either. It just watched with those strange multi-directional eyes. Nari was exhausted. She had worked all night. Despite her fear, she needed rest. "I'm going to sleep," she told the puma. "Please don't kill me while I do." She went to the small room, behind her office where she sometimes slept during busy times. She closed the door and pushed a heavy cabinet in front of it. Not that it would stop the alien if it really wanted to get in. Despite her fear, Nari fell asleep almost instantly. She woke hours later to a strange sound. Something was scratching at her door. Nari held her breath, listening. The cabinet slowly moved aside. The door opened. The puma stood there, its huge form filling the doorway. Nari pressed herself against the wall, certain her time had come. But the alien didn't attack. Instead, it placed something on the floor, a dead rabbit. Then it backed away. "Is this for me?" Nari asked in shock. Was the alien bringing her food? The puma made a motion with its hands that almost looked like it was telling her to eat. It had gone hunting and brought back food. For her. This was not the behavior of a mindless killer. This was something else. Over the next day, an odd routine developed. The puma would leave the clinic for short periods, always returning with food, rabbits, fish from the stream, once a deer. It seemed to be providing for Nari while it recovered. Nari checked its wounds twice a day. They were healing incredibly fast. Soon the stitches would need to come out. On the evening of the second day after she had treated it, Nari tried to communicate. She pointed to herself and said, "Nari." Then she pointed to the alien. The puma watched her for a long moment. Then, it made a sound unlike any she had heard before, a mix of clicks and something like a purr. Was that its name? Or just a random noise? Nari pointed to the floor and drew a simple picture of the clinic in spilled rice. The puma watched with interest. She added stick figures for people, then made a slashing motion with her hand and erased them. The alien's reaction surprised her. It took the rice and formed a shape that looked like its own ship. Then it drew a line from the ship to the village. It understood what she was asking. Why had it killed everyone? But could an alien explain its reasons to a human? And what reason could ever be good enough? Morning light filtered through the clinic windows. Nari woke up on the small bed where she had finally allowed herself to rest. For a moment, she forgot the horror of the past days. Then she remembered. The alien Pumma was still in her clinic. The creature that had killed everyone in Songak village was sitting across the room, watching her with its 6 eyes. Nari sat up slowly. The puma made no move toward her. Instead, it pushed a plate of fruit toward her. The fruit had been washed and cut. The alien had prepared food for her while she slept. "Thank you," Nari said, taking a piece of apple. She was still afraid, but less so now. If the puma wanted to kill her, it would have done so already. After eating, Nari checked the alien's wounds. They were healing even faster than she expected. The puma stayed very still during her examination, only making soft clicking sounds when she touched tender spots. "We need to talk," Nari said, though she knew the alien couldn't understand her words. "I need to know why you came here. Why you killed everyone." She took a notepad and began drawing. First, she drew the Earth, then a simple spaceship coming to it. The puma watched with great interest. The alien took the pen from her hand. Its claws were surprisingly gentle as it drew. On the paper, it added more ships coming to Earth, many more. "There are more of you coming?" Nari asked, pointing to the drawing. The puma made a sound that might have been agreement. It drew more pictures, strange shapes that might be aliens, different from itself. Then it drew what looked like a chain connecting itself to these other beings. "You work for them?" Nari guessed. "They sent you?" The alien added a new drawing, rows of creatures that looked like itself, an army of pumas. Nari felt cold fear return. "An invasion? Your people are invading Earth?" The puma made a negative motion with its hand. It pointed to the aliens it had drawn, then to itself, then made a cutting motion across its throat. "They made you, created you?" Nari tried to understand. The alien seemed to think for a moment. Then it took Nari's hand and placed it on its head. Suddenly, Nari felt a strange tingling sensation. Images flashed in her mind. She saw a species of tall, thin aliens working in labs. She saw tanks filled with growing creatures, pumas being created. She saw pumas being loaded onto ships and sent to different planets. Each time the pumas would clear a planet of its intelligent life, then the tall aliens would arrive to take the world's resources. The puma broke the connection. Nari fell back, gasping. You showed me everything," she said. "You're a weapon. A living weapon made to kill humans, so those others can take Earth." The puma lowered its head in what seemed like shame. "But you're different now," Nari said slowly. "You're not killing me. Why?" The alien touched its bandaged wounds, then touched Nari's hand. It made a gesture that seemed to mean connection or change. "Because I helped you? Because I showed you kindness?" Nari asked. The puma nodded, the human gesture looking strange on its alien body. It must have learned this from watching her. Nari tried to understand what this meant. The puma had been created to kill without feeling. But her act of compassion had changed something in its mind. It was breaking free of its programming. "Do the others know you've changed?" she asked. The alien shook its head. It pointed up to the sky, then held up its clawed fingers. 10 days. That's how long until the main invasion force would arrive. "We have to warn people," Nari said. "We have to tell them what's coming." As if on cue, they heard the sound of helicopters approaching. The Pumma jumped to its feet, suddenly alert and dangerous again. "No," Nari said sharply. "No more killing. These could be people who can help us." The alien looked at her, then at the door. It seemed torn between its old programming to kill and its new understanding. Nari took a chance. She walked to the door and opened it. Outside, 2 military helicopters circled the village. Soldiers were already on the ground, moving carefully between buildings. One of them spotted Nari and raised his rifle. "Civilian," he shouted. "Ma'am, get down." "Don't shoot," Nari called back. "I'm a doctor. I'm the only survivor." The soldier approached cautiously. His name tag read Park. Behind him, more soldiers spread through the village. "Dr. Kim?" the soldier asked, recognizing her from village records. "We've been looking for survivors for days. What happened here?" Before Nari could answer, another soldier shouted from nearby. "Sir, tracks here. The creature went into the clinic." "Soldier," Park pushed Nari behind him. "Get back to the helicopter. The alien that did this might still be inside." "Wait," Nari said. "You don't understand. It's different now. It's not what you think." "Ma'am, that thing killed over 500 people. We have orders to destroy it. It was programmed to kill," Nari tried to explain. "It was made to clear the way for an invasion. But it's changed. It can help us." Soldier Park looked at her like she was crazy. "Ma'am, you're in shock. Please come with me." Inside the clinic, there was a crash. The Pumma had knocked over a shelf, perhaps by accident, perhaps on purpose. "It's in there!" a soldier shouted. Men took up positions around the clinic, weapons ready. "No." Nari broke free from Soldier Park and ran back toward the door. "Don't hurt it!" She burst into the clinic. The Pumma stood in the center of the room, all 4 arms raised in what might have been surrender, or it might have been preparing to attack. Nari placed herself between the alien and the door. "Listen to me," she said to both the Pumma and the soldiers outside. "If you kill this creature, you doom Earth. It knows about the invasion. It can help us prepare." A new voice spoke from outside. "Dr. Kim, this is Dr. June Park, xenobiologist with the Defense Ministry. May I come in? Alone?" Nari looked at the Pumma. It nodded slowly. "Yes," she called, "but no weapons." A tall man, in civilian clothes, entered the clinic. He stopped when he saw the Pumma, his eyes wide with wonder rather than fear. "Remarkable," he said softly. "It's not attacking. Its name is—" Nari realized she had never named the alien. She thought of her brother who had died 2 years ago. "Tai. I call it Tai." Dr. Park stared at the alien, then at Nari. "You've communicated with it?" "Yes. It was made to kill us. But something changed when I helped it. It's fighting its programming now." Dr. Park took a cautious step forward. Tay stayed still, watching the man. "If what you say is true," Dr. Park said, "this could be the most important discovery in human history. Not just proof of alien life, but communication with it." "There's more," Nari said. "Tay's creators are coming. A whole invasion fleet. We have 10 days to prepare." Dr. Park's face paled. "Are you certain?" Nari nodded. "Tay showed me. It can share information through touch. The aliens who made it, the Vesh, they use creatures like Tay to clear planets before they arrive. They've done it many times before." Dr. Park turned to the door. "Colonel, we need to secure this area, and I need a direct line to the defense minister." "Sir?" came a confused voice from outside. "This is a first contact situation," Dr. Park said firmly, "and possibly Earth's best chance at surviving what's coming." He turned back to Nari and Tai. "If you're right about this invasion, we'll need everything this creature can tell us." Nari placed her hand on Ty's arm. He'll help us, won't you? Tay. The alien nodded again. Then, to the shock of both humans, it spoke its first human word in a rough, clicking voice. Yes. The military base outside Seoul buzzed with activity. 3 days had passed since Dr. Nari Kim and the alien she called Tay had been brought here. The world had not yet been told about the coming invasion. The governments wanted to avoid panic while they prepared. Nari sat in a large room that had been turned into a communication center. Ty stood beside her, no longer restrained. The alien had earned some trust by sharing valuable information about the Vesh, the species that had created it. Dr. Jun Park entered the room carrying a device that looked like a tablet computer. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. Good morning, he said to Nari, then nodded to Ty. The xenobiologist had quickly accepted the idea of treating the alien with respect. We made progress on the translation system. Over the past days, they had worked to improve communication with Ty. The Pumma was learning human words quickly, but complex ideas were still hard to share. The mind touch that Ty had used with Nari seemed to work only with her. The device will turn your clicks and sounds into Korean, Dr. Park explained to Tay, and our words into sounds you can understand. Tay touched the tablet with one clawed finger. Good, it said in its rough voice. The alien had learned about 50 human words so far. A general entered the room. He still looked uncomfortable around Tay, but no longer reached for his gun when the alien moved. The Defense Council is meeting in 10 minutes, the general said. They want to hear directly from Tay. This was an important step. World. Leaders were finally ready to listen to the alien. Tay ready, the Pumma said. It had been practicing for this meeting. As they walked to the meeting room, Nari thought about how much had changed. Just a week ago, Tay had been killing her friends and neighbors. Now it was Earth's best hope for survival. Nari still felt pain when she thought of Songgak village, but she also understood that Ty had been created as a weapon, programmed to kill the real enemies were the Vesh. The meeting room was filled with military and government officials from several countries. Screens on the wall showed more leaders joining remotely. Everyone went quiet when Tay entered. That's the alien? Asked a woman in a business suit. The one that killed the village? Yes, Minister, Dr. Park said. But as we explained, it has broken free of its programming. It wants to help us. Some officials looked doubtful. Others looked afraid. But they all listened as Ty began to speak through the translation device. I was made to kill, Tay's artificial voice said. The Vesh created my kind to prepare planets for their arrival. We are sent first to remove all resistance. Why did you stop killing? Asked a military man. Tay turned all 6 eyes to Nari. She healed me when I was dying. No one had ever shown kindness to my kind before. It made me different. The alien seemed to struggle with explaining this change. It broke the control. The control? Dr. Park asked. All Pumma hunters are controlled by a signal from Vesh ships, Tay explained. The signal makes us want to kill. Without it, we can think for ourselves. This was new information. Nari looked at Tay with surprise. The alien had not told her about this signal before. How many of these Pumma hunters are coming with the invasion fleet? Asked a general. Thousands, Tay said. 1 for each small area of your world. The room went silent as people imagined thousands of creatures like Tay, each one capable of destroying a town. Tell us about the Vesh themselves, Dr. Park prompted. Tay described a species that had destroyed many worlds before. The Vesh were not physically strong, but their technology was very advanced. They created biological weapons like the Pummas to do their fighting for them. The Vesh will arrive in 7 days, Ty said. They will expect all humans to be dead, or hiding. When they find resistance, they will send more Pummas. Can we fight them? Asked a military leader. Do they have weaknesses? Their ships are strong, Tay said. Your weapons might damage but not destroy them. But the alien paused. But what? Nari asked gently. The control signal. If it were changed, the Pummas might turn against the Vesh. Like I did. The room erupted in excited talk. Dr. Park raised his hand for quiet. "Are you saying we could turn your people against their masters?" he asked. "They are not my people," Tay said firmly. "They are slaves as I was. But yes, with the right signal, they could be freed." This was a plan that gave them hope. Instead of fighting thousands of unstoppable alien hunters, they might turn them into allies. "We need to know everything about this control signal," Dr. Park said. "How it works, its frequency, everything." Tay agreed to share all it knew. Engineers and scientists were called in. For hours, they worked to understand the alien technology. Tay drew diagrams and explained concepts that human science had never considered. Nari stayed by Tay's side, sometimes helping to clarify ideas when the translation was poor. She noticed that the alien seemed tired. "Are you okay?" she asked during a break. "Thinking of other Pummas," Tay said. "They suffer as I suffered, not knowing they are used." Nari was surprised by this show of empathy. "You care about them." "I did not before. Could not. Now I do." Tay's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "You taught me this." Nari felt tears in her eyes. This creature, designed only for killing, was developing a moral sense, a concern for others. It was beautiful and sad at the same time. A scientist ran into the room, excited. "We figured it out. We can create a device that will override the control signal. But there's a problem." "What problem?" Dr. Park asked. "The device must be placed inside the Vesh mothership to work properly. We can't do it from outside." All eyes turned to Tay. The alien stood straighter. "I will go," it said without hesitation. "That's a suicide mission," Nari protested. "The Vesh will know you've changed." "No," Tay said. "They check only the signal, not the mind. I can pretend to be still controlled. Get close enough to place the device." Dr. Park nodded slowly. "It could work. It's our best chance." Engineers began building the signal device based on Tay's knowledge. It would need to be small enough to hide but powerful enough to override the Vesh control of all Pumma hunters on Earth. That night, Nari found Tay standing alone, looking at the stars through a window. "Are you afraid?" she asked. "Yes," Tay admitted. "But I must do this for the Pummas, for Earth." It turned to look at her. "For you." Nari felt a lump in her throat. "When I helped you that night, I never imagined where it would lead." "One small kindness," Tay said, "changes everything." As they stood together looking at the stars where the Vesh ships were approaching, Nari realized a profound truth. The strongest weapon against hatred and violence wasn't more violence, it was compassion. Her simple act of mercy might end up saving the world. The day of the invasion arrived. The sky over Seoul turned dark at noon as the massive Vesh mothership moved into position. Smaller ships spread out across the planet. Just as Tay had warned, they appeared over major cities on every continent. Indy. The military base, final preparations were being made. The signal device was ready. It looked simple, just a small metal box with buttons and lights. But inside was technology that combined human and alien science. If it worked, it would free thousands of Pumma hunters from Vesh control. Nari watched as Tay prepared to leave. The alien wore no special gear. It would approach the mothership as if returning from a successful mission. "Remember," Dr. Park said, "you must get to the control center. The device must be placed near the main signal transmitter." Tay nodded. "I understand." Nari stepped forward. "Tay," she said softly. There were so many things she wanted to say, but words failed her. The alien reached out and touched her hand gently with its claw. "I know," it said. "You saved me. Now I save you." Around the world, military forces were hiding. The plan was not to attack the Vesh ships directly. That would fail. Instead, they would wait for Tay to activate the signal device. If it worked, the Pumma hunters would turn against the Vesh. If it failed, humanity would fight to the last. "It's time," Dr. Park said. A helicopter was waiting to take Tay to a spot near the mothership. The alien climbed aboard without looking back. Nari watched the helicopter fly away until it was just a dot in the sky. Then she turned to Dr. Park. "What are my orders?" she asked. "You're a civilian, Dr. Kim. You should go to the shelter with the others." Nari shook her head. "I'm the only human who has communicated directly with Ty's mind. If something goes wrong, you might need me." Dr. Park considered this, then nodded. "Stay in the command center, but if I tell you to run, you run." The next hours were tense. Reports came in from around the world as Vesh ships released Pumma hunters. The aliens dropped by the hundreds into cities and towns. But instead of finding empty streets, they found waiting soldiers. "Fighting in London," reported an officer. "Paris, too. The Pummas are taking heavy losses, but they keep coming." On the main screen, they could see the mothership hovering over Seoul. It was enormous, at least a mile across. Nothing in Earth's arsenal could destroy something that size. "Any sign of Ty?" Nari asked. "Nothing yet," said a technician monitoring communications. "Wait, we have movement. A single Puma approaching the mothership. It must be Ty." They all watched as a small dot moved toward the massive ship. A hatch opened and Tay disappeared inside. "Now we wait," Dr. Park said. The waiting was the hardest part. Reports continued to come in from battlefields around the world. The news was not good. Though humans fought bravely, the Pumma hunters were too strong, too fast. "We're losing London," said an officer grimly. "Tokyo is under heavy attack. New York reports Pummas breaking through their lines." Nari closed her eyes. So many people dying. Had she been wrong to save Tay? If she had let the alien die that night in her clinic, would things be different? No, she decided. Without Tay, they would have had no warning, no chance to prepare at all, and no hope of turning the Pummas against their masters. "It's been an hour," Dr. Park said, checking his watch. "Tay should have reached the control center by now." As if in answer, the lights in the command center flickered. All electronics turned off for a second, then came back on. "What was that?" asked the general in charge. "Electromagnetic pulse," said a technician. "Coming from the mothership." "Is that good or bad?" Nari asked. No one had an answer. They waited in tense silence. Then the radio crackled to life. "Command, this is Forward Base Alpha. Something's happening with the Pummas. They've stopped attacking. They're just standing there." Similar reports came in from other locations. All over the world, Pumma hunters had frozen in place. "It's working," Dr. Park said, his voice filled with hope. "The signal is disrupting their control." But was it enough? Would the Pummas turn against the Vesh or just stop fighting? The answer came minutes later. The radio buzzed with excited voices. "The Pummas are attacking the Vesh ships. Repeat, the Pummas are climbing aboard the smaller ships and attacking." On the screen, they could see it happening. Pummas that had been dropping to Earth now turned and leaped back toward Vesh ships. They tore into the alien vessels, ripping open hulls, destroying engines. "It worked," Nari whispered. "Tay did it." But what about Tay itself? There was no way to know if the alien had survived placing the device. The mothership showed no signs of damage from outside. Then a new voice came over the radio. A rough, clicking voice that Nari recognized immediately. "Signal activated," Tay said. "Vesh losing. Control, need help." Dr. Park grabbed the microphone. "Tay, where are you?" "Control center. Vesh fighting back. Many Pummas here now, fighting for control of ship." The general stepped forward. "Can you bring down the mothership's defenses? We have fighters ready to attack." "Working on it," Tay replied. The transmission cut off. Minutes later, the mothership's outer lights dimmed. "Shields down," shouted a technician. "All fighters, attack the mothership," ordered the general. "Target engines and weapons only. We have friendlies aboard." Jets screamed toward the giant ship, firing missiles at specific points Tay had identified as weaknesses. The mothership began to move, trying to escape. "It's heading up," said an officer, "leaving the atmosphere." On the radio, they heard Tay again. "Vesh, leaders escaping. Small ship, going to stop them." Tay, wait, Nari called. You've done enough. But there was no response. They watched on radar as a small craft left the mothership. Moments later, the craft exploded. Was that? Nari couldn't finish the question. We don't know, Dr. Park said gently. The mothership, now under control of freed Pummas, stopped its ascent. It hovered over Seoul, no longer a threat. In the days that followed, the full story became clear. All across Earth, Pumma hunters had turned against the Vesh. The invaders, never expecting their weapons to rebel, were quickly defeated. The few Vesh who survived were captured. The Pummas, now free of control, faced an uncertain future. They had been created as weapons but wanted to be more. Some humans feared them, but others, led by Nari, argued for peace. 1 week after the battle, Nari stood on the landing pad as a small craft descended from the mothership. The door opened and a familiar figure stepped out. Tay had survived. The alien walked toward Nari. Its scales were damaged in places, showing signs of fierce fighting, but all 6 eyes were bright and alert. You came back, Nari said, tears in her eyes. Home, Tay said simply, looking around at Earth. For all Pummas now? Nari took its clawed hand in hers. We'll find a way, humans and Pummas together. It would not be easy. Both species had much to learn about each other. There would be fear and distrust to overcome. But they had something important in common. Now, they had both faced extinction and survived together. And it had all started with a single act of compassion, when a doctor chose to stitch the wounds of a creature designed to kill her. One small kindness that changed the fate of 2 species. Forever, the end